Today we have a bathroom vanity to install, but it's not an ordinary one that you get from your local hardware store. We actually have an IKEA bathroom vanity right here. You can tell because, well, look at this box. This is supposed to be a bathroom vanity and it's a pretty thin box. In typical fashion, you have to assemble all of your furniture from IKEA, which is genius. Except it's not. So we're gonna go ahead and open up this vanity. Now, this is a floating vanity. You'll see it when it's assembled. All right, so we have opened up the box and pretty much scattered off all the parts. Just a little rundown. These pieces that you see like this, these are all for the drawers, so you don't have to worry about those. You need to get those pieces first. These are just for your drawers. You don't need to pay attention to them just yet. And then of course you have this box over here that has the hardware in it. You're gonna need a lot of room for this. I'm using the same cardboard that came with it and just cut it up. So here we have the instruction book, and the first step is recognizing that you have a problem. Making sure to grab the main pieces here. Now this is to assemble the base first, which is pretty cool because they do give us this nice protective blue film. So we're going to start off with these two pieces. We're going to grab our brackets from our bag labeled with the 1. This is our primary hardware. This is what we're going to be rocking with for now. Brackets. Line these up with the holes, the second row in the back, and I'm going to leave these right up for this one, and vice versa for the other side. Those are going to be our brackets. Those are the attachment points. Going back to our numero uno bag, we're going to go ahead and grab some of the Phillips screws. These suckers right over here. Alright, so after you have installed your brackets, the next thing you want to do is grab these pieces over here. It's a Phillips head at the top, if you can see that. And it has sort of this stopper piece right over here. These are going to go into these holes over here. Now I'll show you which ones they are. You're gonna leave one space in the middle. So 2 there, 2 here, space in the middle. That stays, stays. Another one right there. So in total you should have 7 on each piece. You still have to finish that one up, Ty. You're slacking a little bit. And you don't want to use a screw gun unless you got that magic trigger finger. You want to just hand tighten them down, guys. You don't want to destroy your Swedish meatball furniture. So after you've installed those binding screws to those pieces, next thing you want to do is grab these pieces that are part of the frame. We're going to be installing these dowel pins, obviously in the smaller slot. Same applies for all these other ones. The smaller slot is where we install the dowel pins, which is pretty much in the center. Next up, we're going to want to grab, these suckers right over here. These are sort of the binding clips that attach to the screw. So you'll see that all these pieces do have holes in them. Essentially, these are supposed to lock in the piece to the binding screw. So we'll push this in. It does have its correct way right there, and it's not secured yet. Once we get our Phillips and we tighten this thing, you will see the clip bind itself. Now you gotta have to give it a little bit of torque, but there you go. Now it's part of the piece, holding it in place, and you want to repeat that with all these holes that you see here. There is an open space over here, and that is how you first insert these pieces on. And it's only when you twist is when it grabs that binding screw. So going back to the 30-inch version, we have our mounting brackets right over here, ready to work. But since these are pretty much locked into one place, we have to alter another wall. So you can see here we added a 2x4 over here because this is where that mounting bracket hole lines up. We're doing the same to the other side, and we might actually have to add 2 or 3 just so that it fits. If you are going to install a wall mount floating vanity, you will probably have to alter the wall behind. So these 2 blocks that we added, we secured it to the stud, and we have the bolt from the floating vanity to line up with this block over here. We did the same thing with this side, but it's already been covered up. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the drawers. Now, drawer assembly is pretty easy to do. We'll go step by step, but just to show you, here's the finished product of what it's supposed to look like, obviously without the blue film here. There we have it, and it's not supposed to have this many dividers. I just threw them all in here. So we're gonna need obviously the hardware from bag number 2 to complete our drawers. And to start off, we will need these binding screws, these Phillips heads right over here. And these will essentially go into right here and right here. And then the remaining 3 holes are for the dowel pins that will just slip in very easily on one side. Now, when you are securing these binding screws, you, oh, who hijacked my gun? Well, I guess we'll hand tighten them, but I think that's kind of what you're supposed to do. We're not using a power tool. There you go, up to there. That's as far as we go. Now, the way these differ from your ready-to-go boxed ones from Home Depot or Lowe's is we have these brackets here. You may have seen that in the earlier video. This, by the way, is the 60-inch one, not the 30-inch version. And those brackets you see are our supporting mounts to mount this to the wall. So, which means we have to do some altering with the frame of the wall, guys. We have attached the sides of the drawer. We just slid in the bottom piece to the drawer in these grooves. Pretty easy. Disregard that noise. Next up, we're gonna add the back piece to the drawer. You'll see these lines and cut over here. That's gonna indicate the bottom of the drawer. And the way you wanna slide these on is by putting in one side first, not attached yet, and then swing on over the other side. Push that down a little bit. Might need to use a bit of force. And they should line right up, just like that. But now the next thing we need to do to secure this together, because right now it's not secured, I'm gonna grab these pieces right over here. Right there. They have the Allen wrench head. Not sure what size it is, but they do provide you with the Allen key. So thank you, IKEA. These are going to slip in on the side to secure the back to the sides. Real easy. Obviously, well, one more. And you just secure those with the provided Allen key. Same thing on the other side. And then last touch, well, second to last touch, is to secure the bottom board using these Phillips head screws. You got that? This will enter right on the side over here and secure the bottom piece to these sides. And then lastly is the actual lid. That's the last thing you put on, and that's just an easy 4 tiny screws that lock in at the bottom right here. Can you see that? Right there. Just the tiny screws, 4 of them. Funny thing about this one, guys, is that we had it in a original bathroom vanity set for both of them. Last second, the client changed it up and requested to have some cool looking floating bathroom vanities in the bathroom instead. Really should have been two separate change orders. One, the time it takes for assembly of the vanity, and two, the modifications we had to do to that wall to fit this vanity. And we'll probably have to realign the fixture here because this was originally for the 30 vanity that slid up against the inside corner there. But we have to, shift that pretty much, line it up. Hopefully we don't have to, but good chance we will. So these drawer tracks from IKEA are not bad. They have a little shock in there so it doesn't slam. Pretty cool. Only until you get to your vanity top. Look at this. It's like an oversized cutting board. We figured out was this thing can't be tucked into the corner, that inside corner right there. Otherwise we'll have some functionality issues. So you have these clips here, and you actually fit in the provided hardware that they give you, if I can grab that, and that's what attaches these parts to the drawer faceplate. Now as for the vanity top, they do offer you that little piece back there that's supporting the rear of the top, as you can see. We also threw in extra mounting bracket on either side for that added security. Those don't really do anything. The plumbing that you get with the IKEA vanity, it all comes together. So kind of straightforward. We basically reinforced the mounting bracket and threw in some additional screws, support it, make sure this thing doesn't go anywhere. The P-trap and everything came together with the vanity, which is pretty interesting. I've never actually done one of these before, but it makes perfect sense because now you have extra drawers and storage space, so that's pretty neat. The bowl doesn't dip down, so we have that extra space. So as for the drawer rails, they do offer a lot of slots to fit in the hardware, but it does state to use it on this second to last hole. And for the back, the middle section, as you can see, not bad. Have the little shock in them so they don't slam. Pretty good. So here are the legs to the vanity, right here, some homemade. Now this is actually something you should consider doing if you're doing this install by yourself. Basically doing little stands to help you out when you're trying to set the vanity in its position. This will definitely help you out a lot. So this one here is 34, and 34 is actually pretty good. Everything works. We got running water. Bowl sink. Bowl has been attached. More importantly, no water is leaking. So obviously, because of our sink bowl, this does not come with a backsplash or side splash, but we improvised a little bit to cover up that gap. Looks kind of weird having that gap there. Threw in some shoe molding. What you could also do is get those marble thresholds, cut it to length, and sort of use it as a back and side splash, and it actually looks pretty good with this imitation. And last good news, guys, is we don't need to move our light fixture on this bathroom. On the master we do, but this one lines up actually pretty well with the vanity that's not at the inside corner, so it works out. So here's one that a friend installed for the homeowner, and well, they didn't exactly do the best job. As you can see, had to cut into the casing of the door, replace that with what looks to be like baseboard trims. The sink bowl is different and it is leaking, as you can probably tell with the towel underneath. Faucet's kind of loose, a little bit loose. So installation, as you can see, there's that mounting bracket. They threw on an extra few screws. There's a flexible drain here. Looks like a couple of screws in place. And it's supporting, considering the extra weight of the granite countertop. But there you go. Could be better. Have it. Floating wall mount vanity with some bricks at the bottom. Beautiful. You could also throw in a filler in there if you want, if you really don't want that gap. Just peep out our connections.